Welcome to Prize Picks on 5, powered by Big Picks Energy.
The Prize Picks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan G. Skolnick on the 5 Reasons Sports. I got our guy Cesar. You can follow him at Big Picks Energy. He'll tell you about that in a second. We got Tony Mejia. You can follow him at Mejia Dinero. Also catch his work on the On SI sites. We know this is trade deadline day, so nobody really cares about the Super Bowl here yet. But once the Heat don't do anything at 3 o'clock, you'll turn your attention back to it. Sorry. Cesar's got his jacket on. Anyway, use the code 5. That's why I'm still sick. Use the code 5. I will not heal until the Heat make a move. So I won't be alive much longer. Use the code 5, FIVE. Put down your $5. If you see another code there, delete it. Add the code 5, FIVE, and you get $50 in free lineups. And you can play not just the NFL, of course, but the NBA, NHL, MMA, and more. It's all on there, and it is legal in the state of Florida and many, 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 many other states. Again, use the code 5, FIVE. Get your $50 to play right away. All right, we did the quarterbacks already. We're going to get to the running backs today. Let's start with Seattle. Let's start with Kenneth Walker. We talked about this a little bit in the context of Darnold in the last episode. But, Cesar, what would you do here with Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks?
My favorite Kenneth Walker play is longest rush. Now, the number of Prize Picks is 14.5. And I want to let you know he's hit more than 14.5 in 7 out of the last 10 games. Okay. Last game, as we spoke about this with the quarterbacks, last game was a quarterback shootout. So the running backs weren't that involved, but I believe the running backs are going to be heavily involved in this game. So I'm taking more than 14.5 longest rush for Kenneth Walker III.
Okay. Would you play that, Tony?
I don't know. To be honest, I think that it's going to be very interesting and hard to predict to see what New England actually does on the defensive end. Do they say, hey, Sam Darnold, you got to beat us. We're going to stack the box. And Kenneth Walker, you're SOL. You got to break off a long run, which I don't. Out of what Cesar said there, I kind of like the long run angle. I'm going to give you a lock though, and okay. I'm a gambling guy, so trust me when I tell you locks are not a thing typically. If I tell you it's a 10-star lock, I mean, there's games I really like, stuff like that, but you put an asterisk next to it. This, I think, is a lock. George Holani over 4.5 yards, friendly goblin, period. We know who the now backup running back for the Seahawks is because we didn't before the NFC Championship. They had 3 guys, and obviously they had a hole to fill, having just lost an injury, and it was Kenneth Walker now taking on the full load. Holani got those carries. Holani looked good. Holani's been on the roster most of the season. And again, it's 4.5 yards. He's going to be the secondary back on this roster, and they're going to run the football at least early unless they get behind 2 touchdowns. So okay. George Holani will get over 4.5 rushing yards. Oh. I'll put my name on that.
Okay, so Holani over 4.5. His regular play is 10.5.
Yeah, and that's a little dicey. I like that, but that's a little dicey. 4.5. I mean, if he gets 3 carries, he should get 4.5 yards.
There's some other interesting ones here that they put here on the rushing yards, not with running backs. JSN half a rush yard if they decide to run a reverse. Mm-hmm. And AJ Barner half a rush yard. Both of those give you a little bit more on the back end. And we talked about Darnold 5.5 rush yards. Also, they've got Shaheed over 4.5 rush yards. So if they decide to run anything like that, before we get over to New England, would you play any of the backs that were particular? I guess, Barner is at, no, that's tight end play. I'm sorry. If they've got Walker's at 22.5 receiving yards, Holani's at 10.5 receiving yards.
I had that. I had the Walker receiving yards. Here's the thing: we can't play both, and I like the longest rush better. But that was my second pick. It's more than 22.5 receiving yards. He's hitting 3 straight in every game in the playoffs. He said, albeit it's just 2 games. But I don't know. I mean, New England middle of the pack when it comes to stopping running backs from receiving the yards. He's always involved in the pass game. I like Kenneth Walker more than 22.5 receiving yards. If you don't like the longest rush, that's a good backup for Kenneth Walker.
Literally, while I'm watching this Prize Picks, Ramondre Stevenson's number went down to 48.5 rush yards. It was 49.5. It just did that. Okay, Cesar, before we get to Tony, you like it? Oh, no, let's back up to 49.5.
I had the more than on 49. If people are betting it down and it's coming down to 48, I'm taking the more than easily. Now here's the thing. Seattle, very good run defense, right? Yeah. But man, like he's hit 7 out of the last 8 games. He's hit more than 49.5. And the lowest he's had in the playoffs was 53. So, like I said, Drake May, shoulder hurt. Like we spoke about this. What's the game? I think they're going to try to rush early. I don't think Drake May is going to be doing any explosives. They're not doing any shootouts. They're going to try to rely on that run game, keep JSN off the field, keep the Seattle offense off the field. I love this play. More than 48.5 to me. I'm taking that easily.
Okay. Would you play Travion Henderson? 20. I'm looking at the number here. 19.5 rush yards, Tony. Or
I would, just because I think he's going to get a yard, but I mean a few carries. The split in the AFC Championship was 25-3 on carries, which was wild. So I think Travion Henderson probably gets 7 to 10 carries, 10 tops. And Ramondre Stevenson, who had 25, probably closer to 18, 20. One thing I failed to mention on the Seahawks, and I saw it's a demon, is A.J. Barner over a half a yard. He's their tush push guy. He's their short yardage guy. And as a tight end, obviously, you don't envision them running the football much. But, I mean, you could play that if they need a 4th and 1. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the end zone. So I would not talk you off on A.J. Barner over a half a yard if you want to stack a couple of demons in your plays. But as far as Ramondre and Travion Henderson, I think you have to understand what you just saw, that Vrabel now seems to favor Ramondre Stevenson as the bigger back, as your workhorse, and go from there. And Travion, I mean, he could be the longest rush guy because he's got the speed to do it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the longest rushes. Hold on a second before we get out of here. Well, by the way, rushing and receiving yards, just so you guys are aware, Kenneth Walker right now is at 99.5. Ramondre Stevenson is at 74.5. Travion Henderson is at 25.5. So that's where those are. And then I'm looking at the longest rush. Rush attempts one is interesting too, because you guys are talking about it. Ramondre Stevenson at 19.5. And that's you get a little bit more there to play with. Travion Henderson's at 5. Kenneth Walker Jr. is at Kenneth Walker Jr. I'm sorry. Kenneth Walker is at 18.5 rush attempts. I would take that too. I would play that.
Yeah, the Travion Henderson thing, just to comment on that, that's a recency thing, because he had 3 against Denver, and now you said what, it was 5.5?
5.
Yeah, so 12, 9, 13, 19, the 4 games before that. So yeah, I mean, it's a great value play if you want to say Travion Henderson gets at least 6 carries. And Cesar mentioned Kenneth Walker, 14.5 longest rush. So I'll just mention the others. Ramondre Stevenson, 12.5. Travion Henderson, 7.5. I think he gets it, but just the question is if he gets the carries. I'm not sure you get the carries to be able to do that. But as you said, Tony, I do like the value play of playing that more than 5. That seems to make sense. All right, Cesar, where do people find you?
Big Picks Energy on X, Instagram, TikTok. I'm posting plays daily. They're hitting at a high clip. Just follow me. Turn the noties on.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Put down your 5. We're going to do wide receivers next. And then we'll also have wide receivers and tight ends. And then we'll get to some of our favorite plays over the weekend. So I know these guys have a couple that they've already mentioned, but we'll come back to them over the weekend. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks for watching to Prize Picks on 5. Powered by Big Picks Energy.